people, Dr. Coates and Miss Starkey.
Yes.
And if you could just tell us what you do for the district.
We do a lot with math. A big part of what I've been doing is working with unpacking the standards and making sure we know what standards we're supposed to be teaching and that we're teaching within our grade level. So that has been a big part of what I've been doing so far, is really digging into those standards, talking about number talks, and supporting teachers with whatever they ask me to support them with in math.
And so I do the same level of support, just in middle school. So we're working with teachers on what they need. So different teachers that need different things, like trying to meet them where they are, making sure that they have the district resources that they need and that they understand how to implement those resources.
What is one thing that you would just really want every beginning teacher to know that has anything to do with math? What is one thing that they would need to remember when they go to plan their lessons? What's one thing that's like super important?
Use the 2022 unpacking document.
Okay.
Right? There's two out there that exist. There's one that at the bottom says 2018, and there's one that says 2022, and we've been working really hard to make sure that all of the district pages are linked to the 2022 resource. And there's nothing different in them. The 2022 just has a lot more support and a lot more guidance and direction. So I would say make sure that when you're using your unpacking documents, use the 2022 unpacking documents.
One of the things is the North Carolina standards that we follow, they look very similar to our Common Core standards. They have like the same lettering, the same numbers, but they are not the Common Core standards. So while they may be the same topic, the way that we have to teach them in North Carolina may be a little bit different, or the way that we assess them. And so just be careful when you're pulling resources and you're looking through resources and trying to figure out what to use in your classroom, that it aligns to the North Carolina standards and not just the Common Core standard.
Mm-hmm.
And you do that by using the 2022 unpacking document.
I love it. I love it. And I know y'all were both rock stars when you taught. So can you tell me about, like, what was one of your favorite activities that you did in math when you were in the classroom? Like, what was the activity that was always a hit that your kids were totally engaged with? Can you tell me, do you have a memory of anything like that?
Go ahead.
I've been talking for so long. Part of mine was I like to have students hold their whiteboards, and I sometimes would tell them what to write, and sometimes I would say, write a number between 0 and 50 on your whiteboard, and then you could do things of like group with numbers that are all even or numbers that are all odd, so they felt like they owned the number that they created.
Mm-hmm.
And then we did something with it so they got to get up and move. Or get in groups of 4, like take your whiteboard, get in groups of 4 and line yourselves in order from least to greatest. So having that whiteboard is something that they could write and create, but then being able to group and move around, and it works for so many different content pieces, especially because you can incorporate the vocabulary too of like, I want you to write a multiple of 5.
Mm-hmm.
Or I want you to write an even number. I want you to write a multiple of 10. I want you to write a number that has a 3 in the ones place.
Mm-hmm.
They could own their number, and then we did something with it where they got to get up and move. So it was just generally an activity rather than like one particular lesson.
I love that though, because that's something that you could do, like if your lesson ran short, like we're gonna play with a number.
Right? That was one of the things is I feel like you need to have in your back pocket a 1-minute activity, a 3-minute activity, and a 5-minute activity, because there are those times where you just have that weird window of time where you're like, I really want to make the most of this minute. I was talking to somebody, it was something like, if you waste 5 minutes of instruction a day,
Mm-hmm.
it's something like, I can do the math in just a second, but if you do like 5 minutes times 180 days, it's like 16 or 19 hours worth of instruction, which is like 16 or 19 days
Right.
of instruction if we have an hour piece. So like those 5 minutes really, really count.
Right. Miss Turkey?
I would say
That's
my
awesome.
favorite things were kind of mimicking some of the same things Dr. Coates was saying, but anything that's going to get your students up and moving.
Okay.
So I know like our middle school people, we just did like our boredom busters activity. So how can we break apart any worksheet that we have and get students up and moving out of their seats and talking about math?
Mm-hmm.
Just bringing those outlets back into the classroom and embracing who our adolescents really are, leaning into who they are and their characteristics, and getting them up and moving, getting them talking.
Yeah. So
I pulled out my phone to do the math.
Okay.
I needed to do it
I love it.
So 5 minutes a day for 180 days equates to 15 hours of instruction. So
Wow.
if we could find 5 more minutes of instruction a day to do some little small activity that may seem insignificant, that amounts to a lot over the course of the school year.
That's a brilliant way to look at it. Thank you, ladies, for your time so much today. Now, if y'all see them in the building, you'll know why they're there. Thanks.
Thank you.
And now we're here at C&I at a central office up in the attic with our K through 5 district instructional coaches, which I'm so excited about y'all's team. I know it's newer, right? Y'all have been around for how long?
Second year.
Second year. And so if you'll just tell us all who you are and maybe what schools you serve.
Okay, I'm Susan Searles, and I serve Dunn Elementary, Lillington Shawtown, Northwest Harnett, Anderson Creek, and South Harnett Elementary.
I'm Dusty Bingham, and my schools are Coates Elementary, Highland Elementary, Anger, Lewis Creek, and Benhaven.
All right. I'm Tanya Davenport. My schools are Overhills, Johnsonville, Boone Trail, Lafayette, North Harnett, and Irwin.
All right. So tell us a little bit about the work that you do.
We do a lot of modeling lessons for teachers. We often tag team with the instructional coach at the site, and we model writing, reading comprehension, word study, and phonics, and small group lessons, all from Benchmark. So our focus is ELA because we have a wonderful math coach now. And so we do a lot of modeling. We do a lot of work with instructional coaches in planning for PLCs, planning for professional development, and that type of thing.
Okay. So I know you're in classrooms a lot, like we are. And tell us, and I know we always focus on what we need to improve upon, but I thought it would be fun to ask y'all, what are some things that the teachers overall are doing very well right now that you see in your schools?
I see a lot of good things with classroom management right now.
Oh, that's good.
But they have really taken the time. I think the benchmark lessons hopefully have helped with, setting up rules and procedures and having those high expectations.
Okay.
I agree. I haven't been in a room this year that was unruly or, chaotic. Every classroom in every school that I've been in has been very well managed, and classroom management has been a top priority. You can tell that they spend a lot of time with the routines and the procedures with Benchmark at the beginning of the year, which is so important because that just sets the stage for the year.
I agree.
Yeah. And so with the benchmark, what is the most important thing that the teachers need to know to make that work? With the new bench, I hear them talking about the benchmark all the time. What's the one thing that they need to know the most about it?
Well, I think that because this is our first year of implementation and our students haven't been exposed to this type of rigor of the lesson format, that the most important thing to know is that you're going to follow the lessons and you're going to teach the standard, but it's also okay to put your own personality and your own voice into the lessons and tweak them. You're still teaching the same standard, but tweak them to fit the needs of your class and your students, because we have to take them where they are. And this is their first year with Benchmark. I mean, in a few years, we're going to see that they've really come a long way. But in this first year of implementation, I think it's very important to teach them as they are laid out as far as addressing the standard, but put your own personality, your own teaching style into it, and tweak as needed to differentiate for the needs of your students.
And I think that goes along with that prepping, the prepping, because the plan is there for you, but the prep work is very important, and making sure that what you are doing is intentional and making that plan, because you have that long-term plan, but it's a day-to-day plan right now, because we are learning something new.
It is.
So that is very important.
It is. It's not the type of program that you can go in and just read it right off the cuff. You have to prepare.
Right.
Yeah.
There's got to be some planning time.
Planning time. Daily right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I understand. Okay. So I always tell the teachers if they see me coming that there's no need to worry because I'm not an evaluator. I'm more of a cheerleader and a coach. Is that how they
Absolutely.
should? All right, y'all.
Absolutely.
So if y'all see Susan or Dusty or Tanya coming into your classroom, there's no need to panic.
We cannot evaluate you, nor do we want to. We are here for support, encouragement, and to be your cheerleader.
That's right, and we do encourage you to call on us. Let us know if you do need some support, because we enjoy doing that.
All right, so now y'all know a little bit about this team and what they're doing if you see them in your building. So take advantage of their expertise and their wisdom. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for a few minutes today, y'all.
Thank you, Greg.
Hey everybody, now I'm here with Wendy Nash and Martha Chandler, and we want to learn about all things AIG and or anything else that you may do. So why don't you just tell us what your role is and tell us just a little bit about what you do for our district.
Okay, so my name is Wendy Nash, and I'm the AIG and Special Programs Coordinator for Harnett County Schools.
Okay.
That means a lot of things. So I'm over the AIG program, but I also facilitate programs for our gifted and talented, such as Science Olympiads, Math Counts for middle school, Spelling Bee, All County Band, All County Chorus, and lots of other things that take place in the county.
Okay, and for the newest of our BTs, what does AIG stand for?
Academically and intellectually gifted.
Okay.
And you can be in reading and in math or in both areas.
Okay. All right, Martha?
All right, so I'm Martha Chandler, the AIG Curriculum Specialist for Harnett County Schools. My main goal is to help teachers find lessons and activities and resources to use in the classroom. I also help find things. We send out parent newsletters once a quarter to help parents also. And then I just help Wendy with some of the AIG programs like First Lego League that we participate in and things like that.
Okay. And I'd love to know, like, if there's just one thing that you would like for every BT to know and to know well about teaching AIG kids, what would that be? Can you just give us a couple of things?
I can. I'll start and then I'll let Martha add to it because she's really my right-hand man. But so what I would like teachers to know is that you need to treat your gifted students as if you are teaching your EC students. And what do I mean by that? It's state law that we address and meet the needs of our gifted students, just like it is for our lower students. So they don't just learn on their own. You have to differentiate, you have to be rigorous, you have to provide them enrichment activities to build onto the curriculum that you're already teaching for your core.
Okay. Ms. Chandler, one thing that you would like for our BTs to know about working with AIG kids?
Just some of their common characteristics. A lot of them are things that we're familiar with. They're creative, they like problem solving. A lot of times they're a perfectionist and things like that. But then there's some of the uncommon characteristics that they might get bored easily. So that's when some behavior problems might come about. They might lack organizational skills and acting out. And so sometimes these kids can kind of get dismissed as gifted students if they do exhibit some of these skills. So that's just something that teachers kind of have to hone in on and figure out with their students.
Cool. I have one more question. If a teacher suspects that they have a gifted kid in their class, but the child is not yet identified, what would be the first steps that they would need to take?
I would talk to their testing coordinator at their school. 3rd and 5th grade students are mass screened across the county, but if they teach a grade other than that, we do off-grade level testing, so they would just need to go to their testing coordinator and say, I suspect this child might be gifted, what do we need to do? They'll contact the testing department, they'll contact me, and then we'll go from there. If it's a K-3 student, however, we have the K-3 nurturing program at our elementary schools, so they can also get involved in that.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time and for sharing with us about the AIG services in Harnett County.
You're welcome.
Now I'm here with our MTSS coordinators, and we have two. We have Courtney You're the MTSS coordinator for,
Elementary.
okay, and Miss Church.
For middle and high school.
Okay, Amy is for middle and high. So we want to learn about MTSS and what you do. So can you tell us a little bit about your role and what it is that you do in our district?
Sure. Multi-tiered systems of support is an instructional framework for school improvement and success in student achievement. So basically my focus with elementary teachers is to guide and give resources for student improvement.
Mm-hmm.
My focus is very similar. I help with resources, but this year and probably into next, we're focusing in secondary on core instruction and through the PLC structure process and looking at student data to analyze that and help guide instructional practices.
Okay. So if our BTC in the building, they'll know a little bit about what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us, like, what would you like for our BTs to know about MTSS? Is there something that every BT should know?
Ultimately, every student and every teacher is in MTSS.
Okay.
That's our core instruction, okay? So we really don't put kids in MTSS. We all walk into the building wanting a deep core instruction. And, really the foundation of what MTSS is that core instruction should be enough, if differentiated, for most of our students. So that really is the goal, is that core instruction is enough and our students will succeed with that. Mm-hmm. And there are lots of us around, your instructional coaches, who can help. And if there's a question, I'd rather you ask than wonder all year.
Mm-hmm.
And it encompasses the behavior as well as the social emotional side of things. So
Okay.
that's something that new teachers need to be aware of as well.
Okay. And I think I have one more question I'd like to ask today. There's a lot of MTSS rumors and MTSS gossip. So can you kind of tell us, like, what are some of the misconceptions that people have about MTSS?
Okay. Do you want
Yeah.
I think the biggest misconception is that it is a process toward EC.
Okay.
And that those are the steps we have to take to become EC.
Uh-huh.
And really, those are the steps that we want to take for students to achieve with CORE. The levels of support, we want them to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
So really, it's not a pathway to go straight to EC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and students can be, in interventions to support them for several weeks and improve and get out of interventional support, so they don't necessarily end up being referred to an EC program.
Mm-hmm.
But that may be, but that's not the intent behind the process.
Okay. Is there anything else that you'd like for the teachers to know that I maybe didn't ask about today?
We do, in every teacher, in your Google Shared Drive, there is a drive that you automatically have access to. It's
Okay.
going to be either the K-5 or the 612 Harnett County Schools MTSS resources. So in that drive, there will be a manual, there will be documents that need to be done, directions on how, and possible contact information. So you can definitely get lost in it, but if you want extra information, go to your drive, your shared drive, and you can find resources.
And I have seen the drive, and it is chock full of good stuff, y'all, so check it out. So thank you, Ms. Church, Amy, Courtney, Ms. Tompkins. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you.
Yeah.